He told himself the cameras were only for safety, nothing more, nothing cruel or obsessive, just a father's desperate shield against a world that had already taken too much from him, because when Daniel Ashcroft stood in the silent control room of his mansion for the first time, staring at rows of blinking monitors, his heart was not filled with suspicion but fear, the kind that crawls into your chest when you've buried your wife and watched your daughter lose the use of her legs on the same night, the kind of fear that whispers that happiness is fragile and disaster always comes back for seconds. Daniel was a self-made millionaire, the kind newspapers loved to call ruthless and brilliant, a man who turned poverty into power through sleepless nights and brutal discipline, but none of that mattered the night the accident happened, when his car skidded on rain-soaked asphalt, when his wife Amelia's laughter turned into silence, when his 6-year-old daughter Lily woke up in a hospital bed unable to feel her legs, staring at him with eyes too old for her age, asking in a small, broken voice, "Daddy, why can't I stand?" From that day on, Daniel built walls higher than his wealth, walls of money, walls of technology, walls of control, and the cameras were just another brick, hidden in corners, behind decorative plants, inside smoke detectors, all legally installed, all justified in his mind as protection, because Lily was everything he had left. Years passed, and Lily grew into a quiet, observant child confined to a wheelchair, brilliant and gentle, but carrying a sadness Daniel never learned how to touch without breaking, and the mansion grew quieter with each passing year, its polished floors echoing with absence, until the day Maria arrived. Maria was the new maid, hired after a dozen interviews Daniel barely remembered conducting, a young woman with kind eyes and tired hands, the kind of person who smiled not because life was easy but because she refused to let it harden her, and from the first day, Lily noticed her in a way she hadn't noticed anyone in years. Maria didn't talk down to her, didn't offer pity, didn't flinch at the wheelchair. She simply spoke to Lily as if she were a whole person, asking her favorite stories, listening when she talked about stars and planets, laughing when Lily made quiet jokes, and Daniel watched it all through the cameras with cautious approval, telling himself that warmth was allowed as long as it stayed within the rules. At first, what he saw reassured him, Maria helping Lily with her homework, brushing her hair gently, pushing her wheelchair into the garden every afternoon so she could feel the sun on her face, all of it efficient, professional, safe, and Daniel felt a small, guilty relief that maybe, just maybe, he had made the right choice. But one evening, long after the house had gone still and the city lights glittered beyond the windows, Daniel noticed something different on one of the screens, something that made his hand freeze over the keyboard. It was the kitchen camera, the one he rarely checked, and there was Maria, lying on the floor, holding pot lids to her ears like oversized earrings, making exaggerated faces while Lily sat across from her, giggling in a way Daniel hadn't heard in years, the sound sharp and beautiful and painful all at once. Lily was holding a small saucepan, tapping it with a spoon, creating a chaotic rhythm, and Maria was pretending to be a silly creature who could only understand music, crawling closer every time Lily played, until Lily laughed so hard she had tears in her eyes. Daniel's chest tightened, not with anger, but with something far more dangerous, longing. He told himself it was harmless, just play, but he kept watching, and over the following days, he saw more, moments the cameras were never meant to capture, moments that felt too intimate, too human for surveillance. He saw Maria sitting beside Lily at night, telling her stories about growing up poor, about believing that even broken things could still be beautiful. He saw her encouraging Lily to move her legs in tiny, almost invisible ways, not forcing, not pushing, just whispering, "Let's try, just a little, just for fun," and he felt a spark of irritation ignite inside him, because doctors had tried and failed, specialists had shaken their heads, and who was this maid to give his daughter hope? That irritation turned to suspicion the night he saw Maria stand behind Lily's wheelchair in the hallway, holding her gently under the arms, whispering something Daniel couldn't hear. And then, impossibly, Lily's feet touched the floor, trembling, barely bearing weight, but standing for a heartbeat, 4-2, 4-3, before collapsing back into the chair, breathless and shocked. Daniel stood up so fast his chair clattered to the floor, his mind screaming that this was dangerous, irresponsible, cruel even, to let Lily believe in miracles when reality had been so unforgiving, and rage boiled up not because Lily had stood, but because Maria had dared to try. He confronted Maria the next morning, his voice cold, controlled, the way it had been in boardrooms when men twice his size shrank under his gaze, accusing her of overstepping boundaries, of risking his daughter's health, and Maria listened without interrupting, her hands folded, her eyes steady, until he finished, and then she said something that shattered him more than any defiance ever could. She said she had seen Lily move her toes on the first day, just slightly, when Lily thought no one was watching. She said she wasn't promising a miracle, only possibility, and she said, quietly, "Sir, I don't see a paralyzed girl. I see a scared child who stopped believing she's allowed to try." Daniel wanted to fire her on the spot, to restore order, to return to the safe numbness he understood, but when he looked at Lily, sitting silently in her wheelchair, staring at the floor, he saw something he hadn't seen in years, hope struggling not to disappear. Against his instincts, against his fear, he allowed Maria to continue, under strict conditions, with doctors informed, with caution, with rules, and what followed was not a cinematic miracle but something far more powerful. Day by day, through tiny movements, through laughter and frustration and setbacks, Lily began to feel again, not just in her legs, but in herself, and Daniel watched it all through the cameras, every tear Maria wiped away, every time Lily fell and tried again, every whispered, "I'm proud of you," and somewhere along the way, he realized the cameras had stopped being tools of protection and had become mirrors, reflecting his own distance, his own grief, his own failure to be emotionally present for the daughter he loved so fiercely. The moment that broke him came late one evening when Lily stood again, longer this time, holding onto the kitchen counter, shaking but upright, and instead of calling for him, instead of looking toward the hallway, she looked at Maria and said, "I did it," and Maria smiled and said, "You always could," and Daniel sank to the floor in the control room and wept, because he understood then that while he had been guarding Lily's body with money and machines, Maria had been healing her spirit with patience and belief. The next day, Daniel removed the cameras, every last one, except the security at the gates, because for the first time since the accident, he trusted his home to be a place of love instead of fear, and when he thanked Maria, not as an employer but as a father, offering her more money than she had ever dreamed of, she shook her head and asked only one thing in return, that Daniel spend more time on the floor with his daughter, that he play, that he laugh, that he let Lily see him not as a protector behind glass but as a father who wasn't afraid to hope. Years later, when Lily walked across a graduation stage on unsteady but determined legs, Daniel stood in the crowd with tears streaming down his face, knowing that the greatest investment he had ever made was not in cameras or companies, but in trust, compassion, and the courage to let someone else love his child. If this story touched your heart, reminded you of the power of kindness, belief, and unseen heroes, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because stories like this don't just entertain, they heal, they inspire, and they remind us of what truly makes us rich.